The last time we spoke, we talked a little bit about anti-vax sentiment, and it was seen as more of a fringe issue.
There's this
complacency
feeling, well, it's complacency, but it also is what I refer to as libertarianism taken to the extreme, where they feel they don't want any authority, civil or medical, to tell them what they are going to do with their children or with their family.
Increasingly, it's becoming more significant. Obviously, it's more of a priority given what's happening in the world, but also becoming more of a partisan issue. So many more Republicans saying that they are not prepared to get vaccinated. Now, given the success, even under President Trump, of Operation Warp Speed, why do you think that we have seen the politicization of vaccines and anti-vax sentiment?
Well, the vaccine hesitancy is a multifactorial issue. It's not explained by one thing. I believe that there certainly is an element of politicization of public health measures. I believe that's less a case of getting vaccinated. Namely, people might not want to wear masks because that can be a political statement, as we know, unfortunately, what we've experienced over the past year. Some people are fundamentally anti-vax, anti-science. That's the first thing. Others have misperceptions about the safety of the vaccine. Others, like minority populations, historically have not been treated well by federally backed health systems. The infamous, many decades ago issue with Tuskegee.
Tuskegee, yeah.
Which, you know, most of the young African-American individuals today weren't even born during that time, but it gets passed down generation to generation about not trusting the federal government. When people are hesitant for that reason, you should respect their hesitancy and explain that what we have in place now are ethical guidelines and ethical constraints that would never allow that to happen again. And then answer the questions of why many people are hesitant or reluctant to get vaccinated. One of the most common is they say, well, it was so fast. We always talk about vaccines requiring years to develop. We just found out about this virus in January of 2020, and in less than a year, you're putting vaccine doses into people's arms. It must have been cutting corners or sacrificing safety. And when you explain to people that this is just a reflection of the exquisite advances in the science of vaccine platform technology and immunogen technology that had gone over for years and years before this outbreak. And I think if you go step by step and explain to people, we can win more people over than you can imagine. There will always be a hardcore group of people who would not want to be vaccinated. But I think so many people's, their hesitancy can be overcome by reaching out to them in a respectful way.
I'm wondering, from a science perspective, taking the politics away, once we've gotten to the point that we're able to vaccinate people outside of priorities in the U.S., would you say it would be better to also be able to export vaccines globally to the priority groups in other countries around the world?
Well, certainly if you have enough vaccine to do that. You know, we're part of what's called COVAX, which is that consortium of countries and organizations. The president, just a few days ago, has indicated that we'll be giving a total of $4 billion, $2 billion essentially right away, and $2 billion a little bit later. So we are, importantly, part of that global effort to get vaccines to people in the developing world. This is a global pandemic, and you control a global pandemic by having a global response. If we and some other developed countries are the only ones that are actually putting all of our effort and getting the particular epidemic in our own country under control, as long as there's outbreaks anywhere in the world, everywhere in the world is in danger. And that's the reason why we have to have a global pandemic response so that we get all the countries, even countries who can't afford or don't have the resources to get vaccine, need to be helped out. And that's why we have COVAX and other approaches that will be taken.